Good morning, everybody. How are we all doing? I am very, very proud, very, very privileged to welcome you along to our first ever episode of Digital First Aid Podcast. Joining me today is the wonderful James McCulloch. I'll let James introduce himself in a minute and tell you how great he is and how fabulous of a human being he is. But first, it's my turn. So, first of all, I suppose my name is Gareth Melia. As you may or may not tell, I'm originally from Ireland, but currently we are residing in New Zealand, a place called Christchurch in New Zealand, also known as Quake City because of the number of earthquakes. Some pretty violent ones happened 10 years ago or so. And so it's almost like a brand new city. It's very exciting. So good morning, Georgia. If anybody sees Georgia in the background. So yeah, a little bit about me. So obviously I migrated from Ireland years and years ago, came to the wonderful New Zealand. During that time I was traveling. I did a lot of traveling, and part of that traveling, I wanted to be able to fund myself throughout that traveling. So I learned an online skill, and at that point it was web design. So give or take about 10 years, I've been in this digital space, I suppose, from web design to marketing to social media, whatever you think of online stuff, I've been doing it. Recently, about a couple of years back, we created our first agency, and that's Melia Marketing, which is still in operations to this day. We're very privileged. We're very busy. We got to the point where we're very fortunate and very blessed at who we get to work with. So yeah, I suppose that's about me. What do I like to do in the spare time? I like to do a bit of jiu-jitsu. I like to annoy my fellow work colleagues. And I like pets. And that's about it. You know, I'm a simple man. Simple life, simple man. And there's not too much going on. But yeah, digital first aid is my new love. It's my new baby. It's my new four-legged friend, and I'm putting my entire heart and soul into it. And I'm excited for you guys to take the journey along with us. So with that being said, I would like to let James, from the Highlands of Scotland originally, introduce himself.
Very far back. Hello, I'm James. So I kind of work for Gareth, under Gareth, alongside Gareth, in Gareth's proximity. I'm the copy and content writer at Melia Marketing, and I've been working on digital first aid, just doing bits and bobs here and there. In my spare time, I currently write a climate column for Eartha, which is a gorgeous yoga mat and health company. You can find them online at eartha.life. So really, I'm just a writer who likes poking his nose into things and doing marketing type stuff. But principally, my job here today is to ask Gareth some questions. We thought like the most natural way to do this would be to prepare a sheet of questions like I do every morning for Gareth and just fire them off. That's how he likes to be addressed.
That's it, in old military fashion. Yeah, no, James has been excellent. Those of you who have been active in the group, you've probably seen James lend some of his fatherly advice and his wise wisdom. He has been crucial and critical to, you know, developing what it is. And I'm very blessed and I suppose, yeah, privileged to have him involved. So let's get started. You hit me with your best shot, James. What have we got?
Right. Well, I think first off, given your background that you just gave us there, I think everyone would be keen to know why first aid for you? What's the kind of personal fascination you have behind this industry?
That's a good question. So the personal fascination with this industry stems back years, and I mean years, when I was, you know, only a wee adolescent boy, even younger, probably a kid. And years and years ago, I was out with my family and we are on holidays in a place called Calella. Calella is just pretty much not far from Barcelona. And I was out swimming on the beach, as I do. Now, bear in mind, I come from a family with 7 brothers and sisters. So there's quite a few of us. During this process of frolicking around the beach, living my best life, I kind of broke away from the rest of my siblings. And in this particular beach, there's like you have this, the sand, and all of a sudden there's a real sudden drop off. And obviously, I was living my best life, and I must have took a step back and slipped off the shelf and plunged to the depths. But yeah, obviously being, super young, inexperienced in the water, probably panicked, freaked out, and yeah, took on quite a bit of water. And then out of nowhere, like something sent from the heavens, an elderly lady who was topless, which doesn't make any difference, but I just remember it clearly, because it is Europe, and yeah, they believe in free the nipple and power to them. So I was carried commando style, like something you would see a Marine carrying someone from a wounded battle. This lady picked me up, and bear in mind, I remember, because at this point in time, it was hard to I was out, but I wasn't out. So I was kind of coming in and out of consciousness, because I can remember vaguely looking up at her, but I also remember her slipping as she tried to get her footing on this sand. I don't know what you call a barger. But then anyways, she brought me to the shore, and she performed CPR. And yeah, so cut a long story short, she saved my life essentially. There is everything that I have, everything that I'm blessed with and fortunate to have currently, all goes back to that lady, that unknown lady that I never really got a chance to say thank you to. So it's always stayed with me, even well before marketing was on the horizon for me. I always thought of that lady, and it always annoyed me that I couldn't say thank you. So that was the catalyst of it. Even though I didn't know I had an interest in first aid, I had a deep appreciation for people that were well equipped. And when unforeseen circumstances came about, that someone was able to show up and be my hero, like that old woman, that Spanish lady from years back.
That's certainly something.
Yeah.
Also, yeah, feel free to ask me questions as well throughout this. Like, yeah.
Have you ever been
you.
saved by a topless grandmother in the
Not
European
quite.
continent?
No.
Yeah,
One
well,
day maybe.
yeah, that's it. I'll save you. I'll perhaps save you topless if you if you wish. I'm sure that's not on
I was going to say though,
the
this was only like part one of your story, right? Wasn't there? Because there was like a secondary moment when you came across first aid later on.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, so that was the interest in the art form, or the practice of it. How we as how myself and how the company came aligned with the first aid was it happened further on, and not too long ago, a couple of years back. So what happened is I had joined a group of so look, when you're in this marketing game and you're trying to excel in these fields, it is paramount that you're actually developing and learning and improving your skills. So in order to do that, everybody needs teachers. Everybody needs to get support, and you can't, the stuff that we learn, you don't find in university. You can't. Tactics, strategies, they all change. It's a very fluid, dynamic industry. So you need to learn from the best. And in order to do that, you've got to sign up and pay, sometimes quite a lot of money, but look, you get what you pay for in life. So I joined a group, a mastermind, to be honest. And look, I've been in loads of these before. And the common theme amongst these groups or mastermind, or from these gurus, should I say, is that they were all about just making money. That was it. Their job was to help you make money, and that was it. And if they did that, your investment was worth it. But I that annoyed me. I mean, that's money is just it, when you boil it down, it's not everything. And so when I came across this particular group, it wasn't about money. It was about results and making an impact first and foremost for the client, further your client. And then with that, almost in like a binary system, the money or, the rewards will come. So I love that ethos. I felt I could get on board with what their whole, that principle, I suppose. So, during this program that I was running through, they mentioned about niching. There's a term called niching. Now, I heard it before. I never really took much interest in it. And niching, what niching is basically focusing down on one particular niche, one particular industry. Because historically, media marketing is a full stack agency, meaning it does quite a range of services, and it does it for all industries. So if you were a lawyer and you wanted a website, for instance, we just did one right there, we would do that for you. If you were, if you were a contractor, you needed help with some, search engine marketing, we would help you for it. If you were a e-commerce store and you wanted Facebook ads, we would do it for you. And why that was great, and you're getting clients coming in, and it's all wonderful. It's just so many different variables. So there's no systemized, way of delivering your deliverables. So everything is almost like a custom work, meaning you have to do the testing phase, you got to onboard and activation, each step, keyword research, content reviews, competitor analysis, everything is, completely custom. So it takes a bit of time. And it really, really is widely inefficient. So instead, what they suggested is to focus down on one particular industry. Now, I said there, it was over a weekend, and I was thinking to myself, what, basically when I spoke with Ravi, who was the I suppose the mentor, the lead guy in this, the head honcho, he proposed a few questions for me. He said, look, when you're thinking about this, who of your clients do you like aligning with? Who do you feel proud to be able to deliver service with? He asked a couple of other questions, but that one stuck particularly. When he said that, I was like, boom, I know exactly where he's going with this. And like a great teacher usually is able to do, he leads the student to the realization. And we had some medical training and first aid trainers in as clients, and we had been delivering really, really good results. But that one in particular, I really got some sense of achievement and gratification from. I come from a family of nurses and doctors, so I almost felt like I was doing my part, and I felt good about that. So when he said that, and I was thinking of our current client, and I was making a positive impact, and then thinking back to the old Spaniard lady that saved me in my life, and then a few other things. I was just thinking, okay, this is alignment. This is this is Project Mac Fit. This is pattern match, whatever you want to call it. This was it. So that's kind of where I felt first aid was the way for us, and we wanted to go all in.
I think that's probably why, I suppose, talking about being proud of what you were doing and wanting to move beyond this kind of just merely money parameters of success. That's kind of why the first kind of iteration you looked at doing this sort of booked in thing as well. It's all about getting bookings and getting people into your course, right? Instead of just here's how to make a lot of money. Here's how to be successful and promote your course and influence a lot of people, right?
Absolutely. That was that's how it all originated. The booked in method was a program that would teach first aid trainers how to book up their courses. How do you make massive impact at the same time gaining financial freedom, be rewarded for your work, because at the end of the day, it is a business. And there's nothing wrong with making money. Don't get me wrong. It's not that I have this, hate or disdain for money, because that's ludicrous. Money is a really powerful and beautiful thing if used in the right way. But it wasn't our cornerstone. It wasn't our North Star. So yeah, the Booked In Method was a program, a course that teaches first aid trainers or trainers alike how themselves, could book in, more courses. It was a done with you model, meaning, you would do a lot of the work with us kind of thing. So the model is a little bit changed as of very recently. But yeah, the Booked In Method is still there and has some really, really, really good information in there.
Cool. Well, I think also it's important, like, because you were talking about before, just exactly what digital first aid is, that it isn't just a group as well. It's more of a system. So it's a system that can be modeled and repeatedly used for people to get results. Right. So it's more than just kind of that collection of people. It's the actual way of implementing that change throughout your business, right?
Absolutely. So the group in the community is wonderful, and it was kind of the starting point. I wanted to see if there was because there was nothing like it out there. There was no real resources online to help first aid trainers or CPR trainers or medical trainers to flourish and to get that exposure and how to book in courses. And I noticed that from the outset. Other industry, there is ludicrous amount of information out there, but for first aid trainers there really wasn't. And I wonder myself, okay, is that is conventional or traditional marketing or word of mouth sufficient for them? So this is why I wanted to create a group. I wanted to get like-minded people so they could help lift themselves up, almost like the rising tides lift all ships philosophy. And I quickly found out that like every other industry, some people are doing well, some people not so much, some people just want to do better. And that showed me, okay, well, this is our purpose. This is our mission from now on, is to enable training organizations to reach as many people as they possibly can, because fundamentally that's the main thing. That's really what revs us up, fires us up, and gets us up in the morning. The idea of getting people to actually be equipped with this life-saving training.
I think maybe we should just interject before mental health aiders kind of sign off, that this is also included with them as well. Like there's that whole other discipline. How did you come across that? Because you talked about, your experience mainly has been having your life saved and then coming across the group. Whenabouts did you come across mental health first aid?
Well, I first came across, so mental health first aid wasn't as known, but my God, it was just as critical. And I think a lot of people understand one way or another, someone in their life, whether it's directly or indirectly, the effects of mental health issues or things that rive up. We're we're fragile creatures, and there's obviously a massive spectrum of how severe your mental health can be affected. But everybody's got a taste of it and understands that it's a really horrible place to be in, and that help and assistance is vital for people going through it. Going back, so I suppose where I found out where I developed the love for it, for the art, for the practice of it, training people, happened years ago, before I even knew what mental health first aid was. When I first heard about mental health, I was like, wow, that is so powerful. That is so amazing. I suppose I'll give you a bit of context. Let's rewind back when I was 19, 20. One of my, so I get a call. I'm in studying, I get a call and I hear from one of my friends that one of my friends has passed away. And I was perplexed, obviously. I was shook and taken back, and I was really, the rug was pulled, to be honest. I didn't know what was going on. But what happened, we were told that he'd taken a drug, an ecstasy tablet, and he died. But we had, it was just weird, first of all, because I knew Jonathan and he didn't take drugs. And I always thought to myself, that was very, very bizarre. But anyways, when we went down, because he'd moved away from where he originally grew up. And when we went down and spoke with his friends, obviously it wasn't actually an ecstasy tablet that he took. He'd overdosed. And there was that stigma that the family wanted to he wanted people knowing that he had taken his life, because this was years ago. This was 20, or not 20. So we would have been 70 or 80. So yeah, it would have been about 14 years ago. So it wasn't as commonplace. So there might have been a bit more stigma back then, but for whatever reasons they did. And yeah, it was absolutely horrendous. It took us all back. But again, then 2 years later, another one of my friends, a real close childhood friend, a girl, only 18 years old, things got a bit unbearable, overwhelmed, and she also overdosed on some prescribed tablets that were in the house. And that's the ultimate end symptom of mental health. And it's a very it shouldn't be an option, and it's horrendous to think that people get to that point. And it's a lot of people will think to themselves, I never knew that was the case, and I wish I could see the signs. And even to this day, I have a friend who is actually riding around Scotland as we speak, ride out suicide. He's been doing this for 10 years, ever since this initiative, for 10 years, not ever since Jonathan passed, but it was in memory for Jonathan. So people were making their effort, and I always thought to myself, geez, what could I do? I was always there, lending a helping ear. And if I ever felt someone was a bit down, I would always approach them. But I didn't know or have the tools. I could listen, but I really didn't know what to say. Sometimes just to be there. But then when I came across mental health first aid, I thought, my God, this is game changer. This is so, so powerful. We we concentrate so much on the physical. We don't forget that, everything, it starts up here. So that is when I just thought to myself, wow, this is profound stuff. This is game changer. This is the stuff that we need to get into every school. Every person on the planet should have, it should be mandatory that they have these skills, both physical and mental health, but mental for sure, because it's the silent killer, and that was just give more fuel to the fire of this is what we need to do. This is what we need to educate and let people aware that this is actually there, because a lot of people may not even know what it is. And then once we educate, then roll it out.
It's not so much about trying to fix someone as, I suppose, just be there to be the immediate response, right? So that you are just listening to them and making sure they can get the help they need later on.
Absolutely. It's not about fixing people. You can't, people say you can't fix anyone unless you fix your own house. It's not about that. It's about being equipped with the know-how to understand the signs from the earliest set. Obviously, there's a spectrum, and the end result is suicide, and that's horrific. But it starts somewhere. There's a catalyst. So with first aid, mental health first aid, you are able to notice if people are showing themselves, if they're coming to work and they're a bit grumpy, they're agitated, they're not washing as frequently. If they're, spending a bit more time on their own, maybe there's something they posted on social media that kind of draws a red flag. It's about being able to see these, approach the person and just listen and extend a loving, empathetic hand. And that's what mental health first aid does.
Thank you. I feel like I'm learning a lot about you, Gareth. I feel like I need to buy you a beer or something after this.
Well, okay. Well, it's only 8:30. I know I'm Irish. It's a bit early for me. But yeah, someday perhaps.
I think maybe if we just move on a little bit as well, and just talk about the group you've been creating. What have you learned from the Digital First Aid group at the moment that you've been hosting? What's some of the kind of highlights or things that you've learned in building up with this group?
Yeah, well, it's very exciting and relatively new, but it's grown quite substantially, and it's a wonderful to see. I've noticed that, some people will have queries and they may not propose that question or query to the group, but they'll message me directly, and that's absolutely fine. Um, so some people I find that some people are reluctant to ask certain things, which I think should never be the case. There's no such thing as a silly question, and we're here to help, and that's really all that we want. So we're really, really interested and keen on hearing your opinion or any feedback in any regard. So we love that. What the biggest thing to me though was just the infectious passion people have for teaching. They really care. It's not just a job for them. It's about, delivering what they believe, and rightfully so, life-changing, life-saving training. And that's a beautiful thing to see, because, we work with some other companies and industries, and it's just sometimes it's a drag for them. It's just, they're just clocking in, clocking out. And that passion for what they do is not there. So yeah, I the infectious passion that these teachers have that's the biggest thing that came across to me.
Cool. But I suppose, what would be interesting to people is why you've kind of done it all through Facebook. 'Cause I suppose it does get a bit of bad press now, and I think maybe we wonder if we're supposed to be on it, whether we trust it, whether Meta's what's they're doing.
Yeah,
But
why did it change the meta? That's super.
But why is it still the key to reaching out to business? Like, what advantages does it bring as a tool?
Okay, so in Facebook in general, or the group, are you saying?
I like Facebook in general. Like, why
General.
is it still something that you businesses use now?
Well, yeah, okay, perfect. So Facebook group is essentially just a forum. And it was Facebook's, if you roll back, it was Facebook's answer to like Reddit and forums. They want to keep everybody underneath the Facebook Meta umbrella. So basically what it is just an area where, like-minded individuals can get the most of a group and help each other. So that's what I loved about the group aspect of it. Facebook in itself as a platform, you're looking through the prism of a marketer or a company that wants to get the word out there. You want to get more bookings in your course. Fundamentally, Facebook is just a platform. Same thing with TikTok, Instagram, YouTube, Google, Pinterest, whatever you're talking about. It's just a platform. And with these platforms have people's attention. So when you have someone's attention on it, so if someone's scrolling, on Facebook, they're occupied, their attention is on Facebook. If you want to promote a course, well, it makes sense. So you need to show up where your market is. Okay. And there's like 3 billion users. Facebook is still a powerhouse. And the hour, for good or bad, the amount of time spent on Facebook is incredible. So if for a first aid training, for a training organization, Facebook is still a very powerful tool in your arsenal for promoting and getting that word out there. You want to be on more platforms and create this sense of omnipresence, but Facebook is too big to ignore. So yeah, definitely has a place for it. I know, in recent years, there's privacy and all that sort of stuff, but they, the information they have, they already have it. They have 10, 20,000 touch points. Every article that you opened or your clients have opened, everything they've read, they understand that. And that's why it really is powerful for delivering ads. But it's all about commercial. It's not about, stealing your data just to be, malevolent. It's more about just how they can distribute that data to give you a better ad experience, So hopefully that explains it a little bit.
Oh no, definitely. Like I'm using it still all the time.
Likewise,
Ads or
I'm a
not.
sucker for yeah. I know I'm a sucker for it.
Well, now was the serious portion of the interview where I question your integrity. I feel like perhaps we're wary of everyone approaching us online. We kind of got this hesitation about what their real purpose is when they approach us. So what are your credentials? Why am I personally trusting you, Mr. Melia?
Ooh, the tough questions. I feel like I'm interrogating. No, absolutely, and I love this question, James. So good on you for asking it. Yeah, look, the internet's a wild place out there. And there's a lot of people. There's a lot of people pushing agendas and people, trying to swindle people. So believe me, I know they're out there. But I suppose what differs are us. Look, everybody has an agenda. No, there's an angle in everything. I wholeheartedly believe our purpose or agenda is to help, Um, and the reason I suppose you could trust us more than anyone, well, look, I'll put it this way. We have an agency and our agency is really busy. We're turning away work at times because we just don't have we could, take it on, but then have to hire more people, and you hire more people, then you have that extra kind of variables added in there. So we're in a very fortunate position that we don't need the work. So when you're doing something, the work is coming quite often and quite regularly. We turn to, okay, well, money is not really an issue when we're making that. We want to focus on something that we have a passion, that we care about genuinely from our actual core being. And this is why we focus down on digital first aids. We also will consider ourselves a specialist in a sea of generalists. Now you'll get generalists masquerading as a specialist, but we focusing down on first aid. We understand, and this has been going on for months now. Maybe the group has been going for a couple of months, but we have been learning about this and have been teaching, actually delivering these results to our clients for years. MCare have been working with us for over 2 years. So we know exactly what works. We understand the messaging. We understand what what keeps your clients up at night, what's their burning desire, where they want to be. We understand their demographic, their psychographic. We understand their aspirations, what they want from it. We understand the tone of language. We understand it all. And you only get that from focusing on one industry and really doubling, tripling down on that. So I suppose how you can trust us is, just because we're just beautiful people, and I said all that stuff. No, but you can, and the reality is you can never fully trust someone online. You just have to go with your intuition. I think what is your gut, what is your heart telling you about by people. But also don't be too skeptical, because and this is a byproduct of kind of the internet itself. Is sometimes people approach you and you're just straight away your guard comes up and you may not entertain a conversation with them, but then that could flourish into something that is incredible. And that's happened with us. Someone had emailed me and I was like, no, this is a bit dodge. Then I actually read the content. I was like, okay, this is relevant, it's personalized, they've made an effort at least. And that relationship went on to be an amazing relationship. So yeah, I suppose be cautious to a certain degree, but don't be closed off about the possibility. And not everybody's out there to try to sting you or scam you, kind of thing, I suppose.
Mm-hmm. I think even though you're talking about possibly turning away work and keeping it down, I still know that you spend a horrendous amount of time doing stuff at home and in the weekends as well. So the idea you talked to me about this before, this idea of sacrificing for success. So if you're really into what you're doing and you're really kind of this is the thing you're passionate about, what does it take to turn you kind of, okay, I'm doing a right business model, turn it into something that is going to be really successful, it's going to really go forward? Does it really take those kind of extra hours, or is that just a myth?
Well, so you can work harder or you can work smarter. The best solution is to use a combination of that. The reason I work in the evenings and in the weekends, it's because I love it. If I hated it, I'd find it very hard. I'm human as well. So, but I really am passionate about digital first aid. And and the potential and the prospect of really making an impact and helping people, because there is nothing, and I mean nothing, I say this wholeheartedly, there's nothing more satisfying than seeing a client ecstatic, changing their lives from what you're doing. It gives that's this real warm sense of achievement, and saying, what, I did it, I did that, or I at least played my part in it. So that's what kind of spins my wheels. But in terms of sacrifice, yes, look, in life, if everything was easy, everybody would be doing it. So if you want to progress and be the best in your industry, or if you want to be the number one first aid training person in your organization, in your location, in your city, it doesn't happen by wishful thinking and just putting in, crossing your fingers and hoping for the best. That's just not how it works. Nothing changes if nothing changes. So you actually have to sacrifice some time, some effort, or some resources to get where you want to be. Well, first of all, you need to find out what you want to do, what's important to you. And it is, it's brilliant to dream, and we should be able to aspire to something. Drop your flag somewhere in the far distant that that is to the point where it's scary, and then reverse engineer where you want to be. So in terms of sacrifice, yes, you can do it yourself. And you will have to pay with sweat equity, meaning, you put in the time and the money. That's absolutely fine. And you will get there. It will take a lot longer, but you could get there as long as you stay consistent, stay focused, and stay at it, for sure. Or you got to sacrifice something else. You've got to sacrifice, help of your team member, or hiring or getting someone else to help with you. But some sort of resource needs to go into it, whether it's time, money, or energy. It's just kind of the same thing, to get it. So yeah, figure out what you want, be bold, push the envelope out, and make a plan as to how you're going to get there the best and most efficient way you want to be. I suppose it's what my message would be.
Thank you. I think we have one of those self-sacrifices from the weekend below in the link, the webinar series, the first one of that anyway. If you go down, this is for anyone listening right now, if you go down, it should be on the link there. If you go to webinar, there's also a 13 steps marketing guide book, which you can find in the link. But these are all things, these are things we've just done. So what are we doing next? What's coming up on the horizon for me and the rest of the team?
Alrighty then. So very exciting. Only this week we actually launched the website, the first digitalfirstaid.co. So that's an actual website that we're going to be having, where we're going to be storing a lot of our resources. So some of these podcasts will be up there, along with being on Amazon, Spotify, and whatnot. But all the webinars. So we're going to be creating a webinar series that are step-by-step, practical education on how to improve your business. These will be all free. Some of the topics will be stuff like, how to rank well on Google, how to get more reviews and build your reputation online, how to convert your website into a high converting website, how to write emails, how your copy should be. Excuse me, people are trying to message me. So yeah, the webinar series is really cool, and I think that will be worth tuning into. We have also, I suppose if we go further along, we've actually opened up a space for 5 people to actually work with us in a partnership type model, or inner circle. This is a beta program. So literally when we say 5 people, that means 5 people. And we really want to, take these companies or instructors under our wing and show them exactly basically give them the keys to the city and show them what it takes to completely transform their business, completely automate their business, from everything from traffic to conversion to nurturing to client, understanding where they are in the buyer's journey. Really, really, really powerful stuff that we've been working very tirelessly to get out there. So very, very excited. So there's some of the stuff that we've been working on in the shadows, and we're really excited to share with the community.
Actually, I probably should have clarified. If you're listening on the website, the links will be throughout the website. If you're listening on, one of the Spotify or other channels, you'll find them in the below description. But
in the footnotes.
Everyone knows how that works.
Yeah.
Exactly. So how are the people going to work with you? Is it like are you giving out golden tickets yet, Gareth, or is it just?
Well, we haven't officially launched it. Perhaps it may launch by the time this website or this podcast goes live. But yeah, so as I said, it's a 5 max people companies that we're taking on board, and we're working on a done for you model. So although you will get access to the community and you get access to private coaching, accountability, and trainings, you get access to the booked in method that we touched on. But we would also work with you throughout the month. And we have, updates and progress reports and monthly meetings. And yeah, we just basically create a machine. It's what we call creating the machine. A machine is basically, we get what's very important, which is traffic, interested, targeted eyeballs. And we bring them to a mechanism, a website or a funnel that converts them, but also, nurtures them and brings them, some people will be ready to buy there and then, but other people will not. So we have a mechanism to nurture that. Mechanism basically to reactivate old clients and get them back in and get them booked in. We work with you and show you how to get more corporate clients if that's something you want to be doing. But it's a really, really, basically it's a monthly partnership where we will do all the heavy lifting for you, and we completely transform your business. That's it in its simplicity, all its glory.
Sounds pretty exciting.
It is. I can't wait to show them what we can do.
Even Gareth hasn't told me too much about it, so this does sound exciting. I think I've only got one more question, unless you have any for me. What's one thing anyone with a business should know about online marketing?
So online marketing in general. So online marketing, whether people like it or not, online marketing isn't going anywhere. It is crucial. Traditional marketing, the same way that, TV outdid, the radio, internet outdid the TV, and that's where everybody's attention is. If you go outside now, which might not be the best thing, but you go outside, you'll see people on their phone, you'll see people on on work, they'll be scrolling through the internet. The internet is just a powerful thing, and it's not going anywhere. So it makes sense you need to get on board with it, ride the wave, and the wave is coming. You need to either ride it or it'll crash into you. So not having an online presence and not utilizing it is not really an option anymore. COVID kind of showcased that a lot of companies that were doing really well traditionally were just getting overrun by these these new thundercats that were coming on the scene that understood the power of online marketing and exposure that allows you to do, because essentially what it is a leverage tool. So before, you'd have to, if you're trying to influence someone, you'd either be at a meeting, you'd be trying to influence people to do your course, or maybe you're sending out print magazines or flyers or brochures, which is expensive. Right now you can do that in one click, so it's basically a leverage technique. If you have a big enough lever, you can lift basically any object in the world. The internet is just a massive lever that allows you to reach people with really high targeting capabilities that you would never get traditionally from basically non-direct response marketing. So direct response marketing is, I show you an ad, I know if you've seen it, I know the cost, how much you cost to click it. I understand if you submitted a lead, I can tell if you submitted a booking. Whereas if you had traditional print and you get a magazine, company doesn't know whether someone picked that up, whether that person was male or female, whether that person was, what the demographic or anything. So online marketing just allows you to access to an audience that you never could imagine, years and years ago.
I think too, it's probably just if anyone, is just sort of experiencing frustration and they've got like just a website and they're doing some social posts, like the whole online marketing thing is a lot more than that. You talked about before, it takes time to actually build up a portfolio. You have to do several different things with SEO, and retargeting ads for it to actually gain leverage as well.
Yeah, well, see, that's what people think online marketing is you do some social posts. But the reality is when so Facebook or Instagram or any social media platform is, their money is made through advertising. So if you've got, say, 100 people or 500 people on your follow or like your page, Facebook will probably show less than 5% of your audience stat. And that's your current audience. So people that are familiar with you already, which you probably usually would be your customers anyways. It's not really showing you to people that are not your customers, to new eyeballs, So it's not as effective as it used to be. Back in the day, you could post something and it would show us, people in the area, and it was really good. But nowadays it's not. They basically want you to pay to play. So it isn't effective. So there's other strategies that are way, way, way better. Let's take Google, for instance. If I'm looking for, a renewal or a workplace first aid or something like that, I'm not maybe going to Facebook, I'll go to Google. If someone hasn't suggested, I'll go to Google and I will do a bit of a search and I'll find out who's doing well. And then I'll have a look through their reviews and see what their reputation online is. And then I might go down that avenue, So it's vital that you show up and you're there and you're making a positive impression. Because remember, you can only make that impression once and it makes it within the first 3 seconds. So make sure whatever they land on, it's responsive, it's fast, and it answers the questions that they're actually asking. What we see loads of times is, people go onto our websites and they've got these billion links that are distracting, that create confusion and analysis paralysis. And the reality is no one clicks any of them. So what you want to do is just have a streamlined and only have it there if it serves a purpose, unless if the purpose is just to confuse people. So yeah, that's about it. I could go on. I could talk about this for hours, to be quite honest. But to save your save time and respect yours,
I think
I'll leave it there.
I'll come back with some more questions in another episode.
Yeah, no, I think that's fine. The objective of this podcast in particular is just to kind of give you a rundown, give you a background. It's not to get too in depth into the actual nitty gritty and the tactics. And we will get into them later on. It's more to give you an understanding of who James and I are. What is our ethos? What do we believe in? Why it originated and how it originated. And hopefully we've done that. Hopefully James is well spoken and you can understand him very well. Me, on the other hand, it's questionable. So hopefully everybody could understand me and my thick Irish accent.
I was hoping to piece together more of your early life. I might ask you questions about when you were 5 next week.
That's it. You can be my Oprah. You know where I sit, so you can more than that. James is just FYI, if anyone cares. James is just next door in one of our eating rooms. because sometimes if he's in the same place as me, we'll have an echo, and that can be frustrating. But yeah, no, guys, I hope you gain something from it. I'm excited to document the process, share with you what we feel will be beneficial, and it'll help you get along the way. And like ever, if anybody has any questions, any concerns, any inquiries, just reach out. You can reach out to Gareth at digitalfirstaid.co, or hit us up in the group. Whatever way, you'll be able to find us somewhere. But with that, I suppose we conclude our first podcast, unless you have done to add, James.
I was just wondering, maybe if we do like a minute of silence for Juan, who's the video editor. I think it might just help him with the background noise, just to give him a respectful minute of silence.
Yeah, Juan, for anyone who doesn't know, Juan is our video editor slash graphic design slash LinkedIn expert. He wears many hats, Juan, and one of them is the editing. So James thinks that he might be, he might have to do a bit of a chipping chopping, but I think he loves it. He loves it. All righty then. But that being said, let's sign off. Thank you so much, guys. All the best. Be safe.